purified, and you have retaken your original relationship with Krishna as devotee. Those who are not coming to that stage, they don't get there. That's why Srila Prabhupada used to say that most of the devotees and most of the yogis want to merge into the impersonal Brahman. They want to become one with God. They only get to the platform of Brahman realization. When there's activity, when there's attraction, when there's active service, loving service, they're allowed to go back to Vaikuntha or even to Krishna Loka. So here, now it's very clearly defined by Srila Prabhupada what the different stages of yoga are. Control of the senses, strict following of the rules and regulations. Actually, the beginning, it's mentioned that two first stages are yam and niyam. That requires that the yogi also becomes a he follows moral principles, and he situates himself in the mode of goodness. He doesn't commit sinful activity, continue with sinful activities, but he follows strict principles, like it says here. Like our principles, not eating meat and all this. Stopping all the sinful activities and establishing oneself in that mode of goodness. And we see nowadays people are not even ready to accept these kind of principles, and nevertheless they engage in so-called yoga. But these are the forbidding
conditions.
Yeah. These are the conditions that one has to accept first. And this is actually what Prabhupada meant by culture. We have no culture. The yogis were highly cultured people. They would take birth in special families, and from the beginning they were, educated in such a way. Just like sometimes we see, when we're getting in contact with people from South India especially. Many young men come from India, and we have seen them when they come from South India, where they're more traditional still. Many of them have never eaten meat. They have never smoked, never intoxicated. They never had a girlfriend, and no gambling, like that. So that's it. That's what Prabhupada used to call culture. And that's why he said in the West people have no culture. They're just doing anything that makes them feel good. Or very short term. They have no education. They can't see the importance of preparing themselves for the future. Nowadays people are just interested in the the immediate benefit, and they don't give much importance to the future. And even if they give importance to the future, they don't consider that there's a life after this life. And that's part of the basic education, training. This is real culture. Vedic culture was based on this principle. That we are in a very, very fortunate situation at the moment, in as much as we can prepare ourselves for our next life. For our next life. So Prabhupada gives the example just like the children. Children are very short-sighted, they don't see the future either. But the parents have a longer vision, so they're preparing them for the future. So in the in future life, in this life, when they get older, they're probably situated, they're probably educated, they're prepared to maintain themselves. They learn at school, they learn a profession or whatever, get a high education. In this way, they're nicely situated. You know? In the same way, as long as when we get in touch, with Krishna consciousness, we also learn to prepare for the future. And we even learn that death is nothing but some exam. How say? No, I say like a Prüfung. How say? No,
Test.
Yeah, it's like a test. Just like our Jagadishwar is now studying. So, and he's really got into it, studying. And he doesn't, he's very conscious of his time now. Like he told me that even when he goes walking out, the best time for him to learn things is walking, walking along the Rhine. Yeah, that's the best way how to prepare himself for the exams. So now he's very conscious about his future. He is trying to get a good note. I say good notes, that is exams. So he has a more secure future. In the same way, we also have to be very conscious about this. That this life is just a moment in our eternal existence, and we're supposed to prepare ourselves to reach higher realms. And we're very fortunate we even transferred to the spiritual world. Even though Krishna tells us he's explaining to us in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever we do, whatever efforts we make in spiritual life, it actually goes to an account, to a spiritual account, and it's never lost. Whereas everything else, we're not done with that purpose in mind, is lost at the time of death. So devotees are supposed to be very thoughtful people. They're not acting in a whimsical way, like Prabhupada says here. It's not a whimsical. Many people expect the same thing when they practice yoga. It just helps them to enjoy more, to become more, fortunate in the material world. But that's not the end of it. So it says here, control the senses, strictly following the rules and regulations. Krishna calls these regulations the principles of freedom. He calls them principles of freedom. When people normally hear about principles and rules and regulations, they think they lose their freedom. But actually, these are called the principles of freedom, by which we can actually become free. Just like when we're diseased, the doctor also gives us some principles of freedom, to help us to become free from the disease. We might not like the rules and regulations and all the different diets and all this, but we're supposed to follow them for our own benefit. Just like Bhagavad, there was a story. There was I think it was in his neighborhood, many years back. Bhagavad said that there was a boy who had a disease, I don't know, typhoid, I think it was typhoid or something like that. And he was not supposed to eat anything solid, only liquid, I say? No? Yeah. So the mother was very strict with the child. Made sure that he only ate what he was supposed to eat. But he has a younger brother. And the younger brother didn't understand what was going on. And he thought that his brother was suffering unnecessarily. So he tried to give him some solid food so he could enjoy. So the mother became very angry and chastised the young brother. And then Prabhupada said, now from the point of uninformed bystanders or neighbors, the mother might have appeared like a very cruel person, the way she chastised the young boy because he was giving food to his elder brother. But actually this was proper. So sometimes even in our spiritual life, we get the, how you say, koile, how you say,
The club.
yeah, we got the club, and from outside it might appear, oh, this is heavy and very, very heavy. How the authorities deal with the devotees and all that, because they don't see the complete picture. Anyway. You really identified with that, huh? Seems you identified with this, huh? Yeah. So, practice of different sitting postures. What's that? Yeah. Sitting postures. So this is actually the most important thing for people nowadays, sitting postures. How to sit. Then control the breath. I heard that the real meaning behind the control of the breath, well, first of all, by controlling the breath, you actually control the mind. But actually what it meant, I heard once that this helps us, when we start controlling the breath, we get more time. Because our bodies are measured by breath. We have a certain quantity of breath. And if we, that's why, Prabhupada mentioned that yogis would never, waste breath, they would prolong the
lifespan.
Yeah, span. And in this way, prolong it more and more and more and more. And this way, getting more time. Because you need for Ashtanga Yoga, you need a lot of time. And yogis would live fantastically long by controlling the breath. Then withdrawing the senses from the sense objects. Well, that's what Krishna also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Many examples Krishna gives how to, how one, a yogi should control his mind. Whatever the mind, where it goes to, yogi would always, retract it, get it back. But commonly is understood that to control the mind means to not think anything, make it void, like that. But that's not the proper practice. The mind always has to be absorbed in something. So actually, Srila Prabhupada used to say that Bhakti Yoga contains all the different elements of Ashtanga Yoga also. Instead of the subject, controlling the mind artificially, we should give the mind a natural occupation. Natural, we should engage in natural activities. We cannot stop thinking, we cannot start feeling, and we cannot stop desiring. All this, in our practice, as devotees or Vaishnavas, we engage all these functions of the mind in devotional service. Then concentration of the mind, again, then meditation, that means, unless the mind is peaceful, we cannot fix our mind. We have to learn how to meditate without deviation. Fixing, meditation actually means to fix the mind on one point. Samadhi, samadhi means absorb the mind into one object and without deviation. And that's very difficult. Unless one is properly trained, unless one is very fortunate, this is very difficult. Prabhupada gave the example. He said that our devotees can sit for a long time and chant the holy names, or sit in class, concentrate, fix their minds. Whereas Prabhupada said normal young people, they cannot do that. They cannot sit peacefully because their mind is, how is it?
Rotating.
Of 100. So many things. Actually, the best practice to fix the mind and meditate is fix the mind on the holy names. That's the best meditation. No? What do you think? Yeah. And it's very practical. We don't just sit there. But the process recommended for nowadays is that we engage the tongue, the ear, and the tact. How do you say it?
Tactile sense.
Yeah, tactile sense. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's a perfect process. And when we chant the holy names, we should pronounce every syllable. We should chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Often when we hear the devotees chant, the Hare Hare kind of, it's not given the same importance. Every syllable we should hear. That's our meditation. And it's a very nice meditation. In the beginning, like Rupa Goswami used to say, it's like bitter. Like somebody has jaundice, and every sweet, the sweet thing, the sweets become bitter. So it might be a little bitter, a little difficult in the beginning, but after a while, one gets used to it. Even Srila Prabhupada, he said, after a short time you experience ecstasies when you chant the holy names, and you want to dance. When you take part in kirtan, you want to dance, get up, and this. So this is the way. At the beginning it might be a little bitter, a little difficult, but after a while it becomes very nice. Why is this? Because Krishna is very merciful, and he gives a lot of credit. I say, gives us more than we deserve to encourage us. And then self-realization. Self-realization. I am a servant of Krishna. Yes. And that's what we are. Eternally the servant. Nitya Krishna Das. We are the eternal servants of Krishna. That is realization. And there's nothing more than that. Actually, this is our perfection. This is the highest realization possible. But I'm an eternal servant of Krishna. And everything else is set up around this realization, about this principle. So Krishna is very merciful. He reveals us everything necessary in due course. If we practice properly, then in due course of time, everything else will be revealed. Tasi Krishna Namarina Naisavamuka Hichivaro Swayameva Skavati. It says when we chant the holy names, engage the senses in the service of Krishna, starting with the tongue, all the other senses fall in line, fall in line. When the senses become purified, Krishna reveals himself to the sincere devotee, attracting it, feeling attracted to the devotion of the devotee. So when we attract the attention of Krishna, that is our perfection. When Krishna notices the sincerity of a devotee, then he reveals himself without reserve. How is it? Unreserved? I'm not used to speak any English anymore. Anyway, so any questions regarding this? Yeah.
You mentioned that Prabhupada said in the West there is no culture because we don't follow the principles. So That's actually an interesting point because we might think, oh, here's so much culture advancement in comparison to India, which is such a backward country, but so advancement and civilization, culture is measured differently. So how can we become less impressed by the advancement and so-called culture of the West?
Real culture means Vidaishchava Mahai Eva Video. Krishna says, by all, what is that? By all the Vedas, it is me that has to be known. So the degree that we become Krishna consciousness, we become God consciousness. This is advancement. This is real culture. Ishavasanyam sarvam. Ishavasana. Krishna in the center. Krishna in the center. And this is culture. Whereas when they might advance in so many fields, but what is the advancement? Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to say that all this material education, material advancement, is that they transform simple asses to big asses. Kleine Esel in große Esel. Wir machen kleine Esel zu großen Eseln. Yeah. And it's also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. There's 4 classes of men who never surrender to Krishna. Buddha, Naradama, Mayapalita Jnana, and Asuram. First it mentioned the fools, like asses, then the Naradamas, the lowest of mankind, dedicated to all kinds of nasty activities. Then Mayapalita Jnana, a highly educated person with a lot of PhDs and all, so many titles and all that. But their knowledge is taken away by Maya. Their real knowledge is taken away by Maya. They become completely enamored and proud of their so-called advancement. What is their advancement? Like Parvati used to say, it's just polishing the animal aspects, animal tendencies. Yeah. And then Asura, who are directly envious of God and His devotees. And not only that, but they want to make themselves God. They want to be in the center themselves. So that's why we have to be trained to see. We have to see through the eyes of the Shastra. We have to read Srila Prabhupada's books, hear the classes, and start seeing, with the eyes of knowledge. It's very sad, actually, like Germany. Such a rich country, so many fortunate people here. Apparently good karma, and compared with other countries. But what they're using all this for? They don't understand that this is all a product of pious activities from the past. They're just using it up without and creating a hellish future. Just like Prabhupada mentioned that there's a sage giving benedictions to different classes of people. He said to the princess, to the prince, he said, you live, but better you don't die. Why? Because the prince has a very good karma. And but because he's ignorant, he uses all his karma for sinful activities. And as soon as he dies, he will go to hell. He suffer very much. That's why the sage said, well, better you live long and don't die. Then he told the brahmachari, he said, you better die as soon as possible. Because you're practicing so many austerities, and you're suffering in this life because of the austerities. Better you die as soon as possible. So after you take birth, you will enjoy. because of your piety, steroids and piety. Then he told a self-realized person, he said, there's no difference between your living and dying. Now you're on a transcendental platform, you're enjoying spiritual bliss, and when you die, you also have spiritual, same situation. And then he gave he said to the butcher, the Schlachter, he said, don't live and don't die. Because your present life is hellish, killing animals, being covered with blood and all this hellish condition. And when you die, you again put in such a condition because of the sinful activity. Yeah, different blessings or different hints. We should be very careful with our life. We should be very careful with our time. We should be very careful with our energies. Don't waste them unnecessarily for activities which are not beneficial at all. We should use our time as much as possible being Krishna conscious. Because this opportunity is very rare. It's very rarely achieved. Just see, in Cologne there's so many people. How many inhabitants?
1.1 million.
1.5 million. And how many are here? Here in the class?
A handful.
How many come on Sunday? How many members do we have in our congregation,
Like 200.
200 people? But that's a wider congregation, including Essen and Dortmund and all these places. Yeah. But it's nothing. How many people live in the Ruhrgebiet?
20 million.
20 million. Yeah, 200. 200 only. And 20 million. How many percentage is this? How much percentage is this?
Less like
1,000.
Oh, we have a mathematician. Huh?
I guess less than 1 through 10,000.
How much is that? 0.
001.
Yeah?
0001.
Yeah. So, not everyone is very fortunate. Most of the people have never heard about Krishna, have never tasted prasad, they have never heard a class, they have never received the book of Srila Prabhupada, they have never been in an ecstatic kirtan. Very unfortunate. And they're just moving on in their ignorance, getting more and more and more entangled, carrying out so many sinful activities and getting more and more entrapped, within this material world. That's it. I say, a sad reality. Now, when you come here, you come from the third world, you come to Germany, you think, wow, this is heaven. That's why all the immigrants, all these big, all these thousands of people coming from, well, how many, I don't know how many, a lot of people came here from Syria and all these places. And they think Germany is their goal, they want to go to Germany because they heard all these, whatever they heard, they became attracted to that. And also they get all their asylum here, it was a big event in the news that the Bundeskanzlerin would receive them with open arms, that. They come to Germany, but not to become Krishna conscious. Well, that's why we should expose Krishna consciousness in the open, so many people get to know this very important opportunity. Once in a lifetime, once not only in a lifetime, once in every, who knows, many lives. That's why Srila Prabhupada used to say, just one life for Krishna. You've been living so many lives. You had so many lives. Only one life for Krishna. If you can't do that, at least 1 year for Krishna. If you can't do that, at least 1 month for Krishna. If you can't do that, at least 1 week for Krishna. Or 1 day for Krishna. Or once in every Sunday come to the temple and take prasad and hear about Krishna. Those who surrender their lives are very rare. It's not only become a devotee, it's actually more important than becoming a devotee, we see, is maintain oneself. Stay on. How many times we have seen that people come very enthusiastic and wow, something incredible, so such the new thing, Hare Krishna. But after a while they become like, they wind down. Yeah. That's good, but it's not the best. We should not only become devotees, but we should also maintain ourselves. What do you think?
It's very difficult to control the senses. How do you control your senses?
Occupying the senses in Krishna's service. There's so many alternatives. Yeah. Instead of reading who knows what, read Prabhupada's books. Instead of talking all kinds of nonsense, talk about Krishna. Learn how to talk about Krishna. I remember there was one class of a senior devotee once, and he said that I don't know if you have the same experience. When you went to school, there were always some children in school or in a class. They would always learn everything and be exemplary. I say, Streber. Yeah, die Streber. You know this expression, Streber? Yeah. Yeah. And everyone else would give them a hard time because they were such a Streber. Yeah? Yeah. They would always kick at them and throw things at them and ridicule them. And